Welcome to the Jonathan Van Bilsen Show, featuring lively, in-depth conversation with compelling guests from our community. And here is our host, Jonathan Van Bilsen.
Hello and welcome to our show. We're still practicing social distancing, as this pandemic will probably be with us over the Christmas season. One of the most important things during the holiday time is shopping, and if you're anything like me, you'll leave it to the last minute, which this year is probably not a good idea. We have two guests with us today, both from the retail sector. And I wanted to get a first-hand look at how they've fared during the last 8 months and what they've done to prepare for the holiday season. Our first guest today is Stewart Bennet, owner of the Tartan Shop in Port Perry. Stewart, welcome.
Thank you very much, John.
So the Tartan Shop, I understand you have a lot of Scottish products as well as some other things. Is that right?
We have products from all over the UK, Ireland and Wales and England and Scotland. Yes.
Excellent. I've been in a few times to buy my curly whirlies.
Yes.
Which, my favorite, which we'll talk about later. So you were born in Scotland. I wanted to dig into your past a little bit. You were born in Scotland, and I understand it was near the place where Robbie Burns was buried.
I was born in Dumfries, where Robbie Burns is buried, and Robbie Burns is a great hero of mine, and he was the Bard of Scotland, and we do so many Burns dinners in January, which keeps our January sales up as well. So
of course. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the one in 2021 or 22, I'm actually involved in it.
That's right.
And I get to cut the haggis or talk to the haggis as a Dutch person. Now, this is quite a challenge. So you came to Canada when you were a wee lad on a boat, right?
Yes, I came over in the Empress of Britain.
Wow.
And I loved the journey. My mom was seasick the whole trip, so I had the run of the ship.
Did they feed you on that boat?
Oh, they fed me. Being in Britain, we weren't that well off, and lamb was very expensive in Britain. And on the menu every night was roast lamb mint sauce, and I just loved it, and I had it every night. And Jonathan, the funny thing was, the last morning before we got to Montreal, the purser served me roast lamb and mint sauce for breakfast, and he knew I loved it so much. It was fabulous.
Oh. That's great. I'm not a big fan of lamb because, again, not being Scottish. So explain to me how your life was. I understand you had a ritual on Saturday nights.
Yes, when we moved to Toronto in 1957, we kind of associated with a lot of Scots that had come from our local area in Scotland.
Right.
And so every Saturday night we would head over to somebody's house. We'd watch Don Messer's Jubilee, and we'd get into the first period or the second period of the hockey game with Murray
Westgate.
Yes. And we'd all be drilled to the TV, and then we'd watch Juliet at the end, and then we'd party. It was a normal Saturday night. And
I know the era. I remember it well, and I've never met anybody who actually knows Juliet's last name. I'm not sure if you actually have
no idea.
One. Yeah, I know. It's quite funny. Then you moved out west.
We got transferred. My mom got transferred out to Winnipeg, and we were out there for 20 years. And
wow.
I love Winnipeg. I started to golf there. I got heavily involved with curling there, and did quite a bit of singing in the community.
Okay.
So it was.
Did you actually produce musicals?
No, I did some shows at a place called the International Inn, and had a theater there called the Hollow Mug. So I did 13 shows, Brigadoon, the Three Bs, Bernstein, Bacharach, and the Beatles,
wow.
And those kind of things. We did 12 shows a week.
Wow.
And it was pretty amazing.
That's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work.
Winnipeg's a great town. You either love it or you don't love it.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
I've been there many times. In fact, my favorite deli was in Winnipeg, and it just closed down 2 years ago.
Oh.
A little hot dog place just on the way to Bonaventure. That's in Bonaventure. And then you came back to Toronto.
Got transferred back here with, was working for General Foods at the time.
Okay.
Got transferred back here, left singing and entertaining for a little while, and then I moved up to Uxbridge.
Right.
And we purchased the hobby horse.
Okay.
And I got back into singing in the community with Experience, the show in Uxbridge.
Right.
And it's moved on from there.
Okay.
It wasn't a great financial time of my life.
When would that have been?
That was in the middle 80s, 86, 88.
Those are tough times. That recession
the big recession. We had a sign company which we had for 12 years, and we did a lot of work with big real estate companies,
Right.
Cadillac Fairview and all those, and they went down, and
Took you with
I
them.
went with them.
No, that's
you know.
sad. That's sad. But you bounced back nicely. You opened up the wee Tartan Shop in Port Perry.
Yep, we opened up a very small shop in Port
Right.
Perry. That's why we called it the Wee Tartan Shop.
Okay.
And I couldn't believe the people that would come in there, and we'd just have a conversation.
Right.
You know, I said, if you want to come in for a wee blether, come on in, you know. And I met fishermen from Scotland and so many great people. And I never thought that one of my biggest selling products would be Heinz beans.
That's funny.
Like, just amazing, you know.
Right,
So,
because of the breakfast, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's still one of our best-selling products,
Great.
you know.
And what's a blether? Do you sell blethers?
A blether, yeah, just a chat.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
You're blethering.
Not yet.
A lot of
give it time.
A lot of what you do here.
Okay, we're going to pass on that one.
Yeah, okay.
I understand that you're also on the board of the BIA.
I've been on the board, the BIA, for a number of years now, and because we've been on Queen Street in Port
Right.
Perry for 23 years now.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so I get involved with the community and try and make a difference on what they do and how they support people and businesses.
Right.
And it's been great, and good people, and I met a lot of good friends.
They do a lot for the community. Port Perry
Yes,
is a very,
yes.
very, very beautiful town at the best of times. Now, you're also involved in the Highland Games. I believe you're chair of the Highland Games?
Yes, I started the Highlands of Durham Games in Uxbridge, and right now we've changed it over to the Uxbridge Scottish Festival.
Okay.
And we've been able to do that for the last 4 years, not this year. And it's free entry, which has been great. So great pipe bands and entertainment.
I assume
and,
you're not doing it this year, right?
This year we
Yeah.
just couldn't do it.
What time of year is it normally?
July,
Okay.
end of July.
Oh, maybe next year, hopefully.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah. We're keen on that.
I'd like to get out there and throw the tabor.
Yep, yep.
The big.
We've got like styrofoam ones that you can easily throw.
What are you saying?
It's a Dutch thing.
Oh, that's good. So where do most of your clients come from? Most of your customers, are they from locally Port Perry, or are they all over?
We have a great following in Port Perry, but we really are a destination store. So
Okay.
people come. We had some people from Madoc in the other week,
Really?
and we've got people from Milton. So we're quite a specialized store, and
Right.
we've got a great variety of products from Irish sweaters to Celtic jewelry. And of course, the food is big.
Right,
Brits
right.
love their food and love their sweets and chocolate. You know.
And a lot of it is hard to find.
Yes,
a lot of it
that's
is hard to
right.
find. It's very
Yep.
very special.
Yes.
As I mentioned, the Curly Whirlies, of course, is my favorite. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a sort of a caramel stick that's wrapped in chocolate.
Yeah, right.
And it gets stuck in your teeth and just tastes so good. I just love those things. You also do a lot of online business, correct?
Yes, we've really worked. When you were talking about the pandemic, we really took a big motivation to do our social media and upscale our website. And so we did a delivery a couple of weeks ago to Victoria in Australia.
Really?
We've been shipping to the Northwest Territories. We get a lot of business from the U.S. So it's customers that will never walk through my door.
Yeah.
But it's great to have them. And
That's amazing. It's amazing what social media can do for you. Right?
It's amazing.
So when back in March, when the lockdown started, you turned into a virtual business?
I let all the staff go because they could claim for CERB,
Right.
and for a lot of them it was more money than I was paying them. And my wife Jan and I basically looked after the store,
Right.
and we were doing curbside pickup, and I was delivering all over Durham, and it's amazing. People love, they want their Yorkshire tea, and they want their
Absolutely.
biscuits.
You have to have the staples.
Oh yeah.
Have to have
So I was delivering, and they were very appreciative, and so we managed to survive,
Right.
and get through. The lockdown was tough, and
Of course, it was tough for everybody.
Yeah.
But do you feel that people were very engaged? They wanted to participate. They wanted to be part of it.
a real loyal customer
Yeah.
base, and we've been promoting Shop Local, which is
Of course.
dynamite. Amazon is doing great, but the rest of us really have to work harder to do it.
Right.
But I have really a good loyal customer base, and they've been supportive right through. And in the recent months, our numbers are really good.
Are they?
And yes, and we're still closed on Mondays, and we're still got shorter hours.
Right.
Working with a mask on is very difficult.
Oh, I can
very
appreciate it.
tough
Absolutely,
on
I
my
can
staff, and so keeping the shorter hours just to get the mask off and
Yep.
kind of relax, it was very important because I want to keep my staff because they've been with me a long time.
Right.
And they're older people, and
Right.
so we were trying to look after them as well. And as I said, my customers are still coming out, and they
Right.
know our hours, and they come out, so it's good.
You said your hours are less, but your business is maintaining?
Is maintaining, yes.
Excellent.
So
That's wonderful.
it's really good, and I'm not sure how many people can say that.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very happy about that, and it's 23 years. We
Right.
worked up to build that up, so it's paying off now.
So let's talk a little bit about Christmas because it's very close. What have you done to prepare for Christmas? Anything different?
We decided to load our store.
Okay.
We decided that Christmas is going to be big this year,
Right.
Because nobody's going away. Everybody's staying here. There's nobody in Florida. You know, everybody's here, and they've got money to spend. So we decided, we took it back. We're going to load the store.
Okay.
So that was good idea.
Right.
The problem is Britain and Ireland are in lockdown.
Right.
So there's no production.
Well, I was going to ask, how are you
Yep.
getting product?
Yeah,
Are you able to get
we're
products?
it's very difficult, and there's not enough planes flying,
Right.
so it's even tough to get it over here,
Right.
because the planes are full of.
So you buy directly from
Yes,
the UK. You don't
yeah.
buy from local distributors
As
and such.
I
no?
buy my fruit from local distributors because they bring it in large containers, but my sweaters and jewelry and that we
Right.
get directly from the UK.
And your tartans. You do a big tartan business
Big
too, right?
tartan business.
But,
We've suffered this year because there's no weddings. And we
Right.
do kilt rentals for weddings,
Right.
and that's a big part of our business. So to say our numbers are good
Right.
without that kind of support has been really encouraging.
Well, you mentioned before the show that there's actually a Dutch tartan, which is
Yeah,
bright
there is,
orange.
yes.
So maybe I'll come and look that up.
Yep.
I've always wanted to wear a tartan.
There you go.
It's interesting. You also have a traveling business.
I have Stewart Caledonia Tours, and I've been doing that for like 15 years now,
Right.
where I take people to the UK.
Right. Are we talking
And
groups of people or
Groups of
individual
people,
groups?
yeah. I've taken like 47
Really?
at a time.
Wow.
But that dried up this year.
Of course.
But I've got 7 tours planned for next year,
Really?
with the first one going in the middle of May.
Oh.
And we're going to the Chelsea Flower Show and into Wales. And,
Okay.
and I do a tour to Scotland, which takes in the Edinburgh Tattoo. And
Right.
I've got a great tour that does the Isle of Man, Liverpool, and Wales.
Right.
So there's some great opportunities, but we just have to wait and see.
Yeah,
when
it'll
we
be
can travel.
interesting, and I'm sure you're an avid traveler, and I live to travel as well,
Yeah.
and it's killing us not
Oh,
being
yeah,
able to go
just-
anywhere. Definitely
You
get
look
that.
at, you see some of the Facebook, memories and 4 years ago where you
Yeah.
were, and,
Oh, I
and
know.
you're just
I know.
it's really sad, but
Yeah, it is. It is. I do a travel show as well for Rogers, and I get to live vicariously through my previous trips and the memories. of that,
Yes.
but boy, I miss it as
Yep.
well. Stuart, listen, I wanted to thank you very much. Your shop is located on Queen Street in Port Perry,
it is.
and I look forward to getting my curly whirlies as well as the Kendall mint cakes.
There you go.
Have to have those. We're going to take a short break right now. We'll be back after this message with our next guest, Marwan Dib. I'm Jonathan Van Bilsen, and I've had the opportunity to spend my life traveling and photographing exotic locales around the world. Thanks to Rogers TV, I'm now able to share my adventures with you on my show, Photos and Travel, right here on Rogers TV. Welcome back. Our next guest is the owner and operator of one of North Durham's most successful restaurants. Please welcome Chef Marwan Dib. Marwan, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you.
So, you're the brainchild behind what I consider a Mediterranean eatery. Is that how you would classify?
I would classify it as a globally inspired eatery. So there is a Mediterranean influence, but also influences from Africa, India, Thailand, and more of a global.
So we'll get into it a little bit more, but
Sure.
but it's probably based on a lot of your travelers, because I know that you are quite the traveler.
That's right, yeah.
Or have been, anyways. I guess right now we're all sitting around waiting for the next time we can go somewhere. You were born in Lebanon, in the city of Beirut. which has
Right.
recently been in the news for very sad times. Your dad was in the military.
He was, yes.
Now, and I understand you moved from Lebanon to the U.S. and then into Canada.
Right.
What prompted that move? Why did your family decide to leave?
At the time that
Sorry, this was during the Civil War in Lebanon.
this was during the
right?
Civil War,
Okay.
so it was at 1985. At the time, Canada had an open immigration policy, and to tell you the truth, my parents just they didn't love living in America. We stayed for about a year,
Okay.
and we had family in Canada. So when we had the opportunity, my parents decided to go for it, and
Right.
I'm really glad that they did.
Of course, of course. It must have been difficult. I mean, I also was an immigrant into this great country. It must have been difficult as a child to come into a new environment, probably language issues,
Yeah.
different cultures.
It was, but at the same time, I think we were young enough where there was a lot of excitement, and we had family, so it wasn't.
Right, so it was a bridge.
There was,
Yeah,
absolutely,
okay.
and it was a good time.
Yeah. So you're best known for the restaurant business. Obviously, you're wearing your signature hat.
Yes.
How did you get into that? Like, how does one get into the restaurant business? Was it by plan or just by accident?
I wouldn't say it was by accident. It's every chef's ultimate goal to open up their own
Okay.
eatery of some kind. So after studying and really, you have to get that sense of feeling ready.
Right. Now
Where-
you're from Newmarket area, right? So
Yes.
you worked here. I've got here at Kenny Rogers Roaster,
At one point, yes.
which is. Can I ask what you did there?
Yeah, I was a cook.
Okay.
I was pretty young. I think I was about 14 or 15 years old. It was very similar to a Swiss chalet.
Okay, so it was a chicken-based.
It was a chicken and
Interesting.
ribs kind of place. It didn't last very long.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think it was a couple of years, and the whole chain kind of disappeared.
Did you get to meet Kenny Rogers?
He apparently goes to every single opening, but I wasn't working there yet
No,
at the
that's
time.
too bad.
Yeah.
And then you received a scholarship to attend the culinary school in London, Ontario.
Right.
And so how was that?
It was amazing.
So what do you do at culinary school? Like I know nothing about this end of the business.
So, I mean, culinary school gives you your basics of cooking, right from the history, the French terminology of everything.
really, so
and-
it's
and
not just hands-on cooking.
It's not.
also
There's a lot of
theory.
theory.
Yeah.
There's a lot of theory, but there's also a lot of hands-on practical training. So one of the first things is how to hold a knife, how to chop, how to
Right.
all the different cuts, butchery, everything to from butchery to mixology, and
Okay.
how to mix
Oh,
drinks and
really?
make cocktails, and yeah,
Interesting.
serving, service.
I'm always amazed when I watch somebody, a chef with the knife with the carrots and that.
Oh, yeah.
I've tried that at home, and as you can see, it doesn't.
You're missing a finger.
missing a finger or two. So I imagine you have to be very careful because it is a trained skill. It's not something you just
Yeah,
start.
it's something that you just it becomes you don't think about it anymore.
Right,
You're
right.
trained to hold a knife a certain way, and there's a lot of safety protocols that you learn.
Right.
Which actually just they keep your fingers safe, and if
You
you
also-
follow those rules, you're good.
You also have to invest a fair bit of money into cutlery, right? Like knives
do.
are not.
They're not cheap.
You don't buy the 1995.
Good knives aren't cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, you can any knife is will cut, and as long as you can keep them sharp.
Right. Right.
But the better your knife is, the longer it holds that edge.
Right.
Essentially.
And I understand that most chefs have a set of knives and they carry it with them wherever they
That's
work.
right. You have like a
kind of
knife
thing.
roll
Yeah.
or a knife bag, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about traveling, because after you graduated, you and your brother and another person, I believe, went off to Africa. You ended up in Zanzibar, where you bought a dhow, which is a small
In
boat.
North Kenya, we bought it. We sailed it to
Okay.
Zanzibar. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, when I finished my culinary arts college, we decided to do a trip. It was my first real big travel experience, and my brother had been traveling, so we got tickets to England, and we thought that from there we would find our next destination.
Right.
We found very cheap tickets to Nairobi.
Okay.
So we decided to go, and we had a couple bus trips that were excruciating. They were painful and long. So we got the bright idea that it would be a lot more fun to to travel by sailboat.
Right.
So we started looking for a dhow, which is a wooden sailboat.
Okay.
And it took us about 2 or 3 weeks to find one. And we ended up purchasing a dhow and sailing it from North Kenya to Zanzibar.
Which is about a 3-day trip?
By car, it probably would be a 7-hour drive, but it
Right.
took us about 3 months to get there.
Really?
Yeah, because there's no motor, so we're basically just wind power.
And you're not avid sailors either at
We
this
were sailors with zero experience, so
point. So you end up in Zanzibar, and then you got rid of the boat. You sold the boat, or you
we sold the boat. Yeah.
Okay. I think there's a funny story with that boat sale, if I'm not mistaken.
There's a few stories on that boat, but the funniest story is a day where we decided to take the boat out, and we basically got caught in a current.
Right.
And we weren't experienced sailors enough. So first of all, we shouldn't have never crossed this channel.
Right.
And so basically, it was the 4 of us on a boat, and we were being sucked into a reef break. And we were basically screaming for help. A boat came by, and it was an African guy, and
Right.
we asked him if he could help us, and he asked us for a cigarette. We said we didn't smoke, so he left. And we were probably 10 meters away from this reef break, and eventually we saw a little tiny canoe coming
Wow.
with a garbage bag sail. And it was our friend Omar, and he ended up coming to help us, and we actually had to build oars on the boat.
Really?
And, yeah,
I think you have a picture of that in the restaurant, if I'm not mistaken, of Omar.
I do.
In your restaurant,
I do,
yeah. That's funny. Then you came back. You became a chef at Oregano's in Newmarket.
That's right.
And after a stint there, you decided, I've got to travel again. It's been a while. So I've got here, you zipped off to Brazil, which I believe were your family in Brazil, right?
I do now. At the
Yeah.
time, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then off to Europe, and Costa Rica, and probably not in this order, Australia. You spent a year in India.
I did.
Which is a spectacular country.
Yep.
I love India. And then you did 5 years in Thailand where you taught.
That's right.
And you met your
As
wife.
an English teacher. That's
You
right.
met your wife.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Thailand was amazing. It was
Was
one
it?
of one of my favorite countries that I've ever visited, and I mean, partially because I met my wife there, and we
course.
dated for probably I'd say 3 years before we
Right.
decided we got married there, and
Oh, did you? Okay.
we did. We got married there because she's in Thai culture. It's not acceptable for her to basically move away with a man without
Right.
being married, kind of thing. So,
Okay.
yeah. So we did the Thai wedding in
Right.
Thailand, and then we got married officially when we came to Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
That, so during your during your traveling, did you also get into the culinary side of things? Were you working at all as a chef in spots?
I did. So in Italy, I worked in a olive plantation as their cook.
Wow.
And it was amazing. I worked in so this place had no electricity or anything, so it was all wood-fired ovens and everything like that, and fresh milk and cheese and cream, and it was really fun.
That sounds interesting. Sounds
Yeah.
great. You came back to Canada. You were a chef at Newmarket's prestigious Nature's Emporium.
That's right.
And and now you're in Port Perry. So how does somebody from Newmarket find Port Perry and open up a business?
I found it because of a friend of mine who opened up the Old Flame. So I came for a visit, but I felt like I had kind of climbed to the top of where I could get being the chef of Nature's Emporium. I was their executive chef, and I'd collected enough knowledge that I was confident that I could just open up my own restaurant. I knew
Right.
enough about the business, and I figured that it's now or never. And when I found the right location, I went for it.
Excellent. Excellent. And it's been 7 years, you said?
We're in our 7th year.
Wow.
Yeah,
I know we were there the very first day you opened. I remember that.
I remember that. Yeah.
And food was amazing then as it is right now.
Thank
You've
you.
also opened up the Port Social, which is I guess, a bar.
Yep. It used to be a
Next-
clothing store right next door, and
Right.
there used to be it used to be one space that had been covered up with drywall, and when the clothing store moved out, we took it over and turned it into a kind of like a prohibition style,
Right.
speakeasy
Yeah.
style of bar.
I know you've got a turntable there with vinyl records. So when the pandemic started in March, things changed drastically for especially for the restaurant business. You were closed. You were only doing takeout.
We were, yeah. So initially we adapted to just doing takeout, which we'd always had takeout, but we'd never really operated solely on takeout.
Right.
And
Staffing changes too, I imagine, had to take
yeah,
place.
we had to. We took it down to a skeleton crew. This is for the first month.
Right.
And the takeout just exploded. So we
Excellent.
ended up, right now we have all of our staff back. We have 25 employees back.
Wow, wonderful. Good for
Yeah.
you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Nice to bring it back.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, of course, when the summer came, nice weather came, the patio, you've got a beautiful patio out front, which you have heaters at now. That must have helped a lot.
It's helped tremendously.
Yeah. And Port Perry, I understand they did a lot. They closed the street,
They did.
right?
Yeah.
Which I assume helped your business.
It did help the business. It helped. It just gave such a nice atmosphere for the town, for visitors. We really enjoyed it. There was it was kind of a point of contention because not everybody supported the idea.
It doesn't work for every business, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I think it's great from a town perspective.
For sure.
Many towns have streets that are open throughout the year. So now we're in a situation. It's winter again. You've got heaters. It's a hit or miss what's happening. Obviously with the economy. Are you gearing into sort of a long winter of mostly takeout again?
Well, as long as Durham keeps its numbers down, I think we're really lucky to have not been closed down again.
Right.
So fingers crossed we stay open. If we do, we're just going to have to adapt again to whatever they throw at us.
Right. We've got about a minute left or so. Some experiences from some of your customers. You must have millions of stories to tell about some of your customers without mentioning too many names.
Well, not so much about customers, but we've had, there's a couple stories, mostly disasters that have happened while, under the guise of everything running smoothly.
Right.
But one of my favorite times was friends of ours, Mike and Nan, were in eating.
Right.
And this is back when I first opened the place. We had electric hot plate.
Right.
One of the other chefs knocked over a bowl of dried red chilies right on the hot plate.
Ooh.
And the hot plate was red hot, and it just incinerated into this white, thick smoke. So our lungs are burning, our eyes are burning, and within 2 minutes, the entire dining room, this was a Friday night, place was packed, and within 2 minutes, everybody was crying and coughing.
Oh, I can imagine.
And the place was completely cleared out, and nobody really understood what happened, but
it did.
Yeah.
And you got through it.
We got through
Marwan, listen, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you,
I want
John.
to wish you a very Merry Christmas for you and your family.
You too.
That's our show for today. I'd like to thank our guests for being here with us. And on behalf of everybody at the show, I'd like to wish all of you a very, very happy holiday season and a much better 2021. Thank you.